Okay, so Mana, the great Mana, as we've said, is the god of the Mandaeans, right? The great Mana exists in the world of non-existence, and he created an egg, and out of the egg emerged the great life. That's the hidden sun in the world of existence. And this is according to Khalid Miran. If you haven't watched his videos yet, obviously you need to watch those. So Mana is a Sanskrit word that means thought or mind. The great Mana is the oversoul or overmind, the earliest manifestation of the great life. The Mana of a human being is, so to speak, a spark of this flame, a temporarily detached part of the great Mana. In some features, the Mandaean's Mana corresponds to the Persian Vohu Mana, later form Bahman, which means good mind. It is the power which represents intelligence and wisdom. He is the Lord of the heaven, who established his sovereignty through truth. In Mandaism, truth, Kushta, is an element closely related to the first creation. It is the heavenly oath which every Mandaean has to take during baptism. The great secret first Mana concealed himself in his Shkina, meaning residence. In this case, it's the Pira, for 999 million years before he became manifest and initiated the existence. The Mana speaks about his dwelling in the sea until wings were formed for him. At the moment he became a winged creature, he spread his wings and flew towards the place of light. I am the great Mana. A Mana I am, a son of the great ones. I dwelt in the sea. In the sea I dwelt until wings were formed for me, until for me wings were formed, until I became a winged creature. When I became a winged creature, I spread my wings for the place of light. The above verse reminds us of the Onis legend, which was written in Greek by Babylonian priest Berosus. He described Onis as having the body of a fish, but underneath the figure of a man which dwelt in the Persian Gulf. He rose out of the waters in daytime, furnishing mankind with instruction in writing, the arts, and the various sciences. In addition to Mana, the heavenly being, there is the Mana in the sense of Nishimtha, the soul, the hidden sparkle of light. When Ptahil, the fourth light, one of the three angels, created Adam, he could not make him stand on his feet. He therefore had to fetch a hidden Mana, a soul, from the house of light and cast it into the bodies of Adam and his wife Eve. This being of light, Mana, had to sojourn in the human body against its will. Because of this imprisonment in the stinking body of man, the Mana, soul, laments and complains, "Why did you carry me away from my abode into captivity and cast me into the stinking body?" Okay, so just like Khalid Miran told us, the body comes from the world of darkness, and the spirit comes from the world of light. So your spirit has to go back to the world of light, and specifically it comes from God himself. It comes from the great Mana. Your Mana comes from the great Mana. Your soul comes from the great Mana, the supreme God. The supreme God is the hidden sun. Okay. Three angels came forth and made a request to the second life. Yushamayim is the second life, as we've said, the great life. Remember what we've said, the great Mana created an egg, and out of the egg emerged his avatar. That's the great life. Also the hidden sun, obviously. And the great life created the second life, Yushamayim. Right? So, Yushamayim, the three angels came forth and made a request to the second life, Yushamayim. They begged to be allowed to create dwellings for themselves. What they requested from the second life gave them. They consulted one another and built dwellings. They said to their father, "Father, are you the one who produced this yardina of living water that is so wonderful, and its water with so sweet a smell? And the Uthri established here who are so great. Then the second life spoke, saying, I was produced by the great Hay, the great life. And the Yardina belongs to Hay. And you two were created by the power of Hay. They said, give us some of your light, give us some of your brightness, and give us some of what you have. It will help us descend under the streams of water to prepare a world for you. And for us, we want to be settled in it, and to create Uthri for you and for us, a world where the name of Hay is not mentioned. The second life was pleased by this and said, let it be. When he said that, Hay, the first life, was not pleased. He said a prayer to the great Mana who resides in the great fruit, and praised him. There the great Mana arose with great splendor, light, and glory, and called into being Mandad Hay. Manda is an Aramaic word meaning knowledge. So Mandad Hay means the knowledge of life. Okay? So Yushamine, as we've said, was planning to build himself a world of his own. A world of his own where the great life is not mentioned. The name of the great life, that's the hidden sun, is not mentioned. Okay? The great Mana learns about this, and he creates Mandad Hay. Okay? So let's continue reading and see what happens. And called into being Mandad Hay, who is full of life and beloved by all the Uthri, and said to him, look at what the Uthri are plotting and devising. They are saying that they want to create worlds and to establish dwellings like the mighty Uthri, who are the sons of light. Is it to your liking, Mandad Hay, that the Uthri of light have abandoned light and turned their gaze towards darkness, towards the great sea of Suf? That's the Red Sea. Then he spoke a second time to him and said, Mandad Hay, see to what end the Uthri deliberate, why their hearts are thrown into confusion. So the Red Sea is seen as a sea of evilness, as a sea of darkness, because the Jews crossed the Red Sea into safety, and the Egyptians that were Sabians drowned. And the Egyptians that were Sabians, were following the same religion as the Mandaeans. So it's an evil sea, basically. It resembles darkness. Anyways, the next part is copied from the story of creation by Sabah al-Disi. Mandad Hay, and I just want to say the link for this is found at the very beginning. Okay, Story of Creation in the Mandaeans' Holy Book in the Ginzarab by UCL Discovery. So the link is available. Okay, so the last paragraph, we're going to continue. Mandad Hay was charged to bring order among the Uthri and deliver them from failure. The Great One commanded him, march against the rebels of darkness who think out evil against us. Then the life called Yawarzewa, on whose name 900,000 Uthris emerged. Then he created a form and gave it to him and said to him, go meet the second life with this form and let us find out what he will say and what he will propose. He went to Yushamine's presence and spoke to him. Yushamine, son of Tmut Hay, the great life, my father sent me here by the power of the form which the life gave to Yahweh. All the skinas of Yushamine trembled and quaked, and his throne degraded and gave way unto downfall. His women were standing at his presence and were terrified. Yushamine is in big trouble, isn't he? Mandad Hay arrives at the house of Yushamine, and the planets fell on their faces. He was instructed by the wisdom of the Great One, and set forth and came towards Yushamine. He stood in the vault of the house of Yushamine, and he covered his gleam with his radiance. And an uproar ruptured in the house. An uproar ruptured in his house, and the planets fell on their faces. After all, it seems that everything went well, and Mandad Hay was successful in his mission to Yushamine. We're going to see about that. I came to the world which the second life created. This is Mandad Hay speaking. From which all error and deficiency came into being. I uttered the voice of life, and planted the planting of the Great One. I planted the planting of life. and I chose the elect ones, one by one I chose them. And I explained to them, and taught them concerning the goodness. I made their eyes behold the place to which the Great One sits, or is enthroned. I taught them, through the secret chants and recitations, the prayers and praise that we process. I made them part of the construction of the life, and made them join the union of the life. I enlightened them with the sublime enlightenment that has no end. And I showed them the form which was brought from the concealed place. When the elected ones saw it, their aching hearts were healed. I uttered a proclamation, and I straightened up the trivial devils. The second life became obsessed with the thought of creation. He incurred the great schism in the world of light when he allowed the three Uthris, his sons, especially Abator, to go down below the Hapikyamiyya. Hapikyamiyya is a bridge that connects to heaven. It's a stream of water that's a bridge that connects to heaven, and create their own world and ignore the name of life. The second life's creation of a new world was considered by the world of light as an evil act of rebellion which instigated the great controversy, never to be resolved in all eternity. Yushamin revealed the secret of the great ones and threw controversy into the light. The mundane faith dictates that the world which was created by Yushamin is the source of all evils, and all errors and deficiency is the product of divine tragedy caused by Yushamin. For his insolence, the second life was cast down from his throne and was bound with a chain in order to stay eternally in it. Yushamin was cast down. He wanted to instigate a fight and throw controversy into the house of the great ones. He imagined evil, and therefore he was bound with a chain in order to stay eternally in it. In green, the letters in green, you can see that for the detailed battles between Yushamin and the battalions of light, see the first 4 chapters of the Book of Shon. This is the Mandaean's Book of Shon, Charles G. Hable and James F. McGareth. So, Yushamin lost the war. His sons were killed in the resistance, and his wives went around in mourning. His Yardina Jordans were disturbed, and his Shkinas were removed out of their place. They destroyed his dwellings and his buildings, and his throne was placed at the gates of Shupat, underworld. After the tragedy of Yushamin, he came back to his senses. He repented and asked to be baptized, and the name of life to be placed upon him. I want to be acknowledged by your baptism, and your name to be expressed and placed upon me. As Yushamin said this, the great life was pleased about his speech. He spoke to Nesebzewa, the guard, who sits everywhere. He said to him, "Go to Yushamin and sustain his heart by your support. Tell him, you are of our planting. We will not leave you alone. Your Shekhinah is well established in radiance and glory, and your stronghold and your building are to be recreated as they were. Your children are to be brought back to you alive, and you are to be served by your messengers as gods in your realm. Your throne is to be erected firmly as it was, and you are to be called a king in your Shekhinah." On the other hand, the second life Yushamin is considered by the Mandaeans as the archetype of a priest careless in rituals. Yushamin is the neglectful priest in the world of light. In some Mandaean writings, Yushamin is called a peacock. Do not give them confused admonition. Such as Ham Zewa. And the word Zewa, by the way, we've seen Seb Zewa in the paragraph before this, and it means light, luminous, radiance. Okay? The radiant Ham. Gave to Yushamin the peacock. He cautioned and directed as he, Yushamin, was setting the crown on his brother Abator in the land which is the house glorious, and that beauteous. I've never read this word before, to be honest. No, I've read it, but I mean, I've never read it out loud, to be honest. Also, woe is me, the peacock, whose foolishness is larger than his virtue. Yushamain, the second life, became infatuated with the idea of creating a world of his own. He therefore transferred his defecting tendency to his son Abator, the third life. Abator opened the gate of the world of light, and as soon as he gazed into the abyss, Ptahil, the fourth life, came into being. Okay. So, the second life is Yushamain, as we've said. Yushamain created Abathor. Abathor is the third life. And Abathor created the fourth life, that is Ptahil. Okay, the fourth life is Ptahil. Now, when Yushamain created the world, he did not complete creation. He created a mass of water. He did not finish creation. So, we're going to read about how creation was completed. How the earth, as it is recognized today, came to be. Bhag Zewa Abathor. Abathor was proud of himself and considered himself to be the Almighty. He considered himself the Almighty, glorification, and abandoned the name that his father had given him. He said, I am the father of the Uthri of the Father I am, who has made the dwellings of the Uthri. He pondered over the stagnant waters and said, I will create a world. He went without any advice. He summoned Ptahil Uthra. He embraced him and kissed him like the Almighty. He gave him the name Gabriel, the messenger. He summoned him and asked him, saying, Go down, hurry, and get yourself glorification to the place where there are no dwellings and no worlds. Create and make for yourself a world like the children of peace, whom you have seen. Ptahil Uthra arose, went forth, and down below the dwellings to a place where there was no world. Okay, so he went down to a place where there was no world. He stopped into the filthy muck and entered the stagnant water. Ptahil washed his hands in the stagnant water and said, Let there be an earth, just like there was in the house of the Almighty. As he dipped his hands, a solid substance formed, a solid substance briefly formed. Okay, I might have to catch a breath, to be honest. But the point that's being made here is he went into this muck of water, and that's the water that was created by Yushamain. That's Yushamain. He was attempting to create a world of his own. So Ptahil went to continue the job of Yushamain, the work of Yushamain. And Ptahil washed his hands in the stagnant water and said, Let there be an earth, just like there was in the house of the Almighty. As he dipped his hands, a solid substance formed, which collapsed and flowed apart. As no earth came to be and took solid form, his heart began to break. As Ptahil acted in accordance with his wise plan, he adored and glorified Hay. He received the garment of living heat and walked about in the stagnant water. As the living heat mingled with the stagnant water, an account of the scent of the garment of living heat, dust from the land of Sinyawis, a region in the world of darkness, was stirred up. From the land of Sinyawis, dust was stirred up and landed everywhere. All the seas were clogged, all the pits were filled, a dry spot took shape, a solid substance formed and fell into the water, a curtain rose up high, it rose up and stood at the center of heaven. As the firmament was stretched out, he bowed down and praised his Creator. The fallen ones circled around him. Ptahil, in his wisdom, asked them, Where have you come from, wicked ones? They answered him, We have come because we want to be your servants. He said to them, Where have you come from, wicked ones? They answered, We have come because we want to be your servants. And he said then, You are my sons. If you do good deeds, I will take you into my embrace. As soon as Ptahil said this, the house was taken away from him. Every angel has a house in the world of light, with its own Yardana, that's a heavenly river. Then the angel said, let Adam come into being. He will be one of us. Come now, Ptahil, together we will create Adam. He will be our leader. Ptahil said, my hope was to create Adam by myself. If he is created as you wish, what will he be? They said, if we obey you, what sort of authority will we have in the world of lower life? You will serve him. You will be guards for him, said Ptahil. They formed him and laid him on the ground, but they were unable to make him move, for Adam was without a soul. Became tired, Adam did not stand upright on his own 2 feet. Ptahil ascended to the highest, and stood before the father of the Uthri, Abathur. He said, what have you done, Ptahil? Everything, my father, except the likes of you and me. The father of the Uthri said, enough, and then withdrew within the secret pit. Great manna, infuse that body with life. Remove any affliction from him and illuminate him according to your desire. The great manna gave him the living names with which he could speak, and the father of the Uthri wrapped the great secret within his pure white turban. Then he delivered it to Ptahil. When Ptahil and his followers reached the earth, they came near the outstretched body. He wanted to place the soul within it. Mandadhai took it away from him. When Ptahil tried to stand Adam upright on his feet, Mandadhai made him stand up. So Mandadhai did not want Ptahil to know the secrets, and so he took the secrets and he infused them in the body of Adam. This is the soul. Basically, he infused the soul into the body of Adam. Made him stand up. I made him breathe the breath of life. His bones were filled with marrow. The glory of Hay spoke forth within his body. Then he opened his eyes. Ptahil is the Egyptian god. Ptah. So Ptahil, Lidzbarski connects this demurrage with the Egyptian god Ptah, a creator god of the ancient Egyptians. Il means Lord or God. So Ptah, Il. Il means God. So the god Ptah. Brandt points out that the figure of Ptahil is contradictory and appears both as a demon and divinity. In modern belief, Ptahil rules the spirits of evil, receives the newly arrived souls of the dead, and starts them on their journey through the realms of purification, ending at the scales of Abathur Muzania. Abathur, the father of Ptahil, weighs the souls before they can make their way into heaven. If the soul weighed in these scales passes the test, it crosses in a boat to the realms of light, where it meets other purified souls and its own Dmuta, or oversoul. Ptahil is depicted as a creator or partial creator, as rebellious to the world of light, but later repentant and reconciled. Bossuet's argument suggests that Mandaean Ptahil is in fact none other than the Iranian Yama. In support of this identification, he adduces the observation that both Ptahil and Yama enter into relation with evil powers, devas, and that both experience a fall from grace by reason of this relationship. And then we're going to start reading from the Egyptians. So I think I'm going to read the first paragraph. I'm going to take a break, and actually I'm going to do the second lecture in a separate video. The one who made himself into millions. In the Egyptian sources, all creation of life involves three elements: the creation of the body, the transfer to that body of some part of the divine essence of the creator, and the animation of the body by the breath of life. Very similar to the Mandaeans. Some creator deities were more strongly associated with one of these elements than with the others. Khnum, for example, was chiefly a creator of bodies, where Shu and Amun-Ra were both gods of the unseen breath of life. See that? So the hidden sun is the one that gives the soul to people. The spirit/soul that you need to live comes from the hidden sun, Amun-Ra. The second element, the transfer of the divine essence, eventually led to the concept of that all deities, or even all living beings, were not just made by a transcendent creator, but were in some sense forms of the creator. Every one of us has a bit of the creator inside of them, and that is your soul/spirit. It comes from Amun-Ra, the hidden sun. From the New Kingdom onward, this was a distinctive feature of the Egyptian religious thought. Okay? I added a note here, and the note says that the Manichaeans have an elaborate story about how the soul has to be purified after death. All of the Sabians believe that the soul has to be purified after death to make its way back into the world of light. Okay? So we're going to discuss this. I have a chapter on this. Like I said, it has to pass through the purgatories. These purgatories are the planets. We're going to discuss this. I have a whole chapter on this. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Till next time. Again, thank you for watching.